it's real handy to have one of these speed squares that have the notches in it. These notches line up with your marks on the top. We can see that this 2x6 is 5.5 inches. The notch on the bottom is for 1/4 inch increments. Right here it says 1/4. On the top it says 1/2 inch, and those are for 1/2 inch increments. If I wanted to cut it, make a 2.5 inch rip mark, I could use the top in halves. Come up here 2.5 inch and use the corresponding notch on the top. And this is going to give me my 2.5 inch rip. But this needs to be 2 3/4. So to get the 2 3/4, I'll need to use the bottom notch, which is in 1/4 increments. So we'll come up to the 1/2. Using the bottom one, it's the one next to the 1/2 on top. That's 2 3/4. Okay, this 2x6 is a little bit over 5.5 inches. It's about 1/8 of an inch over. And that just happens to be about the same width as the saw blade. So the kerf is the wood that the saw blade is going to cut out. And it's going to be as wide as the blade, which just happens to be about the width, but this is off. So I'm just going to run my saw blade on this side of the line. And when I get done, I'm going to want to see the line. And that way, this side should be 3/4, and this side, instead of being 1/8 of an inch fat, should come out to 3/4, 2 3/4 also, and they should be even. I always secure my work before rip cutting it. Just make sure your screw's not in the line of the blade. I like these square bit wood deck screws. They're easy to recess, come in handy for this. Okay, before we cut it, I'm going to adjust my blade so it's not chewing up my sawhorse any more than it has to. I really only need to have about 1/8 of an inch or so beyond the wood. A little lower. That's more than enough. I'm just going to run it right down the line we made. Again, I've got my X on this side, so in this case, I'm going to want to see that line when I get done. I think that was pretty close. I can still see the line there. And they are about the same width. If I'd have cut straight down the line, this one on top would have been noticeably thinner than the one on the bottom. I'm making this for a chicken coop, and chickens don't really care, but if it matters, that's one way to make sure.